Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on SuperSport. For today's preview, as Benetton welcome the Sharks to Treviso in Italy in the first round of the return of cross-hemisphere games between South African sides and obviously the sides in the Northern Hemisphere, which is exactly what I want to see. Now, Benetton are an interesting side because South African sides have not had a good time against them, and especially after the Bulls went down to them and the Stormers went down to them as well last year. They'll be looking to add another scalp to their name in the South African sort of a list of teams that they've beaten. However, I think this is going to be their toughest task. First of all, because they're missing a lot of their best players. If you look at that, the Italian side, for example, that's been named for this weekend, you're looking at about 8, 9, I think even about 10 or 11 Benetton players within that 23. So they are missing basically their entire side. And as a result, it's not necessarily the strongest Benetton side, but they are a little bit lucky in a certain way because they've got quite a few international players who obviously don't get called up to the Six Nations because they are South African or Argentinian, for example, stuff like that. But before we look at the sides, please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. In terms of how they will line up, this is the Benetton side that will take to the field tomorrow. So in the front row, Federico Zani, Cornel Els, and Simon Ferrari will take be in the front row, and they'll be up against an all-Springbok front row in the likes of Oxenchair, Bongi Benambi, and Thomas du Toit. So, immediately the Italians are very much on the back foot because it's a very difficult front row to take on. I think the Italian front row, the full Italian front row would struggle to take on that front row. So I think they're going to be very difficult to even from the get-go at scrum time be able to manage the Sharks. But if we look at the second row, Nicolo Piantella and Carl Wegner, the former Cheetahs captain, in fact, will add a lot of experience. He's obviously played the Sharks quite a few times. So players like that will be quite important. If we're looking at the back line, the back row, it's Matteo Maggiotto, Alessandro Isoko, and Lorenzo Canon. And they'll be looking to try and press because it's an all Benetton loose trio over in Italy. So, actually over in Ireland this weekend. So these players got an opportunity to put their hand up and say, listen, we know that the likes of Lamaro and Halafi and Pettinelli, for example, are over with Italy, but we can do a job here. We can stand up and be counted. That's what you have to do when you get these opportunities. A familiar face to South African fans, Yael Dumanaka will captain the side. He's next to Thomas Abanoz at fly half. The rest of the back line, we've got Rainer Smith, former Cheetah star, Filippo Drago, Jacques Riera, Tommaso Benvenuti, and Tommy Bell will complete the back line there. On the bench, also a familiar name for South African fans, Andries Coetzee, the former Springbok fly half, is in at 23. Elsewhere, we're going to see Thomas Barivalo, Matteo Dradi, Nahul Tetaz, and then you've got Thomas Gallo, Yari Fantini, Luca Petrozzi, Lucas Berendio, and then, of course, Andries Coetzee. So it's not the strongest Benetton side, as I said, because you can add literally about 12 Benetton players back into the side who are currently going to be playing for Italy on Sunday, because they are the dominant Italian province. Zebra are missing a few players, but not nearly as many as for example, Benetton are. But there's a couple of good players here, and look, it's anything can happen at the end of the day. Anything can happen, but you do expect a Shark side, especially a Shark side as strong as this, to get the job done, don't you? Up front, Oxenchair, Bongi Benambi, and Thomas du Toit, who's obviously the vice captain, will be looking to try and give them a big platform for that backline to really have a go. In the second row, Ruben van Heerden and Brand Krobler has become quite a physical side, quite a physical second row, especially. Those are some big players in the likes of Van Heerden and Brand Krobler, and they'll bring a lot of physicality. And I think that physicality as well is going to put Benetton very much on the back foot. Carl Wegner, for example, is going to be someone that's going to have to really stand up and be counted. The loose trio is Sia Khaleesi, Henko Fenter, and Pepsi Buthelezi. Jaden Hendrickson, partners Curran BOSCH. There's only one player in that Sharks backline who's not played for the Springboks, and that's Marius Lowe at inside centre. Elsewhere, you've got Bakazuma Pimpy, Spur Nkosi, Apley Fassi as your back row, and Lekanyo he's sporting a new haircut, so look out for that. He partners Marius Lowe in the centres. Off the bench, Kieran van Vuren, Ntukum Kuno, Kutum Kuno, Leroux Roots, Kumbuza Noche, Cameron Wright, Tito Manila, and Werner Koch. Cameron Wright getting an opportunity after, first of all, impressing in Currie Cup, but also no Grant Williams for a couple of weeks, 4 weeks in fact, because after that ban for his tackle on Chris Smith. Tito Manila, you're bringing on, if you're looking at the players you're bringing on here, you're bringing on Sigurd Noche, Springbok capped. You're bringing on Tito Bonillo, Argentinian flower half. You're bringing on Werner Koch, Springbok 7-star. There's the depth in the Sharks side is frightening, but they haven't quite all been able to put together, and they started to look like that against the Bulls a couple of weeks ago. So the question is, can they take the next step? And I think Benetton, I don't think they should necessarily struggle, but you've got to be able to make sure that these games are not an issue. You need to start being in the form and the pedigree where these kind of games are a non-starter, that you go in expecting to win, knowing you're going to win, and putting out performances to back it up. And also, when you look at the Sharks, it's not just good enough to have results. You've also got to start putting in performances. You know, you can't be scraping victories. You've got to start really putting in the performances that people sit around and go, they could be champions. You know, are they potentially one of the best sides in the competition? Because they do have one of the strongest squads in the competition, but we haven't necessarily seen the performances to back up that claim. But let me know what you think of the two teams. Let me know what your score predictions are down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. I'll chat to you soon.